Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. You're watching AMS Live. My name is Boy. It is Friday, May 17th, 2024. We're Polderbaan, which together with Kaagbaan, interestingly, are the two runways being used for departures today, or at least right now, I should say. And runway 36 right is being used for arrivals. So runway configuration right now, something you don't see every day. It is a low visibility day with overcast and a low ceiling. The world is small. The sun is supposed to be out here. At least the ducks are out. Also hearing a lifeliner, I think. Wind is blowing from the north, at least on ground level. On higher levels the wind is blowing from the east, which is also where rain is expected to come from later in the day. If we're going to stay dry throughout the stream remains to be seen. I have an umbrella with me just in case. And our first departure is ready to go. It is EasyJet flight 23442 A319 going to Liverpool. 18 years old, this one, first flight April 2006. Very good morning to everybody who has joined already. Hope you're doing well. Almost weekend, or for some of you already weekend. Wow. What you waiting for? Have a look. Don't seem to be any bird control vehicles on the runway, and it is already coming. Britty Hopper in the background going to Humberside. See how low that ceiling is. There you go. Britty Hopper, Embraer 190, flying KLM flight 971. Outbound to Humberside, 15 years old this one, first flight January 2009. Gone before you know it. Another Britty hopper on its way to Teesside or Darlington in a few moments. KLM flight 963. 19 years old, this airplane. First flight was in January 2005. After that, an E2 Embraer. Now there's definitely a couple of interesting airplanes on the menu outbound today. Hopefully we'll be able to see them. There's a Disney livery from Air Canada. The Orange Pride is expected to depart in just under an hour from now. Meanwhile, the sun is making an effort to shine through the clouds over here. Not fully sunny, but it is giving it a go. There are some patches of blue here and there, so who knows? Next up is an E2 Embraer 195 going to Krakow in Poland. KLM flight 1323. In the meantime, our pipeline is trickling. 2 more airplanes coming this way. Also a big thank you to Davey GL, who celebrates 6 months of membership and rides. Good morning, boy, loungers, ducks and fish. Good morning to you too, Davey, and thank you so much for your continued support. Hope you still like it in the lounge. Do let me know if something isn't to your liking. Let me see what I can do. Well, it is it going to open up? That would be something. There are definitely bits of blue here and there, which we didn't have an hour ago. Next up, KLM flight 1829 going to Stuttgart, Embraer 190. PHEXB, 10 years old, first flight January 2014. It is the Embraer Exodus. Embraer 175 to Hanover. After that, an Embraer 190 to Florence is coming this way. This is KLM flight 1787. Embraer 175 to Hanover, PHEXN. 7 years old, first flight May 2017. Interestingly, it does seem to be an open gap. I can even spot something that resembles a Contro remnant over there. Then again, if you look to the west, this is what it currently looks like. Looking to the north, the east, and to the south. Jinshin and Companion are also present. Let's see. Oh, that's the black and white duck. There are two, and there's two of them. Kuifeenden in Dutch, or at least so I've been told. Another coot. Okay, so Donald and Daisy are still missing then. Now, for some reason, they've also stuck a little blue pole here in the grass. Not sure what it means, but it wasn't there last time I was here. In the meantime, the next airplane has lined up. We'll be going to Florence in a moment. KLM flight 1651, Embraer 190, the PHEZS. 13 years old, first flight was in August 2010. Firefighters already did their round. They were early today. They already passed me by as I was walking up to the spot, so they've already returned to base. If you look in the background in a moment, you will see the vehicles still in front of the station. As you can see it during the pan. Well, again, good morning to all who have joined. You're watching AMS Live. My name is Boy, and we are standing at the Polderbaan with a low ceiling and a sun that is trying to do its best to shine through the clouds. With wind blowing from the north, and interestingly, also runway 24 now open for departures. JB Old Volt Bike says you should make a Discord server. I'm already too busy with everything as it is, mate. Now, I'm feeling droplets. Thinking there are a few loose droplets falling. I don't know from what, because directly above me it is somewhat bluish. Ooh, Paul is tuning in from sunny Oslo. Yeah, it seems that most of Europe is in sunshine except the center of Europe. Benelux countries, the north of France, Germany, parts of Germany at least I should say. An area of low pressure and precipitation that was set to stay in place for a couple of days, so doesn't bode very well for the upcoming weekend over here. This is KLM flight 1639, Embraer 190, destination is Turin in Italy. Pheze, P-H-E-Z-E, 14 years old, first flight January 2009. Definitely bits of blue here and there. Alrighty. First switch up from something other than an A319 and Embraer. First 737 of the show. KLM flight 1199 going to Oslo. 17 years old, first flight February 2007. AMC is tuning in from Manila. Welcome to the show, mate. Oh. First airplane that we are able to follow for more than just 10 seconds. There's definitely a ever so slight drizzle going on right here. Meanwhile, the sun is also shining. Odd combination. It's not rain that gets you wet, but it might cause some droplets on the lens. Yeah, there it is. You can see it already when zoomed out. Luckily I came prepared. That should be good again for as long as it lasts. Well, the wind is coming from this direction, so keep the lens turned in the opposite direction should help. Right, next up in the pipeline, an Embraer 190 to Aalborg, and there's a tail moving over there. That would be another Embraer 190. There's an Embraer 175, Embraer 190. Oh man, it is Embraer galore. Wow. If you guys need your Embraer fix, this is the channel right now. Now Malky, big thank you to you as well, celebrating 10 months of membership. Thank you so much for your continued support, mate. Malky writes, morning all, hope everyone is keeping well. Well, I for one definitely am, thank you for asking. Hope that also goes for you. There is stuff in the pipeline, let's have a look while we're at it. Weather, you can see there's a ceiling, we already saw that. Wind is blowing from the north, handful of knots, nothing to write home about. Runway configuration, quite interesting. Departures to the north and to the southwest, and arrivals are arriving from the south. Something you don't see every day. Outbound, around 10:35 to Johannesburg is the KLM Orange Pride. Not sure if we're going to see it take off from this runway though, with runway 24 also open. Also spotted the Disney Wish special livery from Air Canada, expected just past noon. The nice Dreamliner, we already saw that once in the stream before. There are 2 Queens expected outbound round just before 12:30. Was there something else? Transavia Sunweb around 1 o'clock outbound. So yeah, there is stuff expected later. For now it is Embraers. To begin with, KLM flight 1283 to Aalborg, Embraer 190. Hey there, Ross. Good morning. Doing well, thanks for asking. Hope that also goes for you, my friend. Embraers. The Embraer lined up is an Embraer 192 Trondheim, KLM flight 1151. The one on the shortcutters entry is going to go to Aberdeen. And it is the National Day today in Norway, Albatross is writing. Well, happy National Day then to you all in Norway. Good morning, Ted, Marius. Ready. The Embraer 192 Trondheim is coming this way. KLM flight 1151. Which is 8 years old and began flying in November 2015. Still visible. No, I think we've lost it. Definitely some openings here and there. This. Oh. Inbound. There's also a little bit of a ruckus in the water. couple of the ducks got scared away. Not really sure what happened there. Next up in the pipeline, KLM flight 1373, Boeing 737-900 going to Bucharest. Now, good news, I do see that there is some heavy stuff on the move. In fact, a Boeing 7478 to Milan, and it isn't going to the Kaagbaan, to runway 24. Now, unless runway usage has changed in the meantime and 36 Center is also open for departures, which I wouldn't be surprised by. Although I haven't seen any departures from Center just yet, but if that's not the case, then that 7478 is going to take off from the Polderbaan. Seeing is believing. Now, there is an American Airlines dreamliner on the move. We'll be flying out to Dallas, flight 221. Same flight number that we recently saw struck a bird. Although I'm not sure if this is the same exact airplane. Yes, that 7478 Nippon Cargo seems to be coming this way. Green light says 36C just opened for arrivals. Excellent. So that means that we are going to see a Boeing 7478 from Nippon Cargo in a few minutes. Last time I checked, this was the runway usage. Let's see, has that... No, well, this website always lags a little bit. So, if 36C is going to be used for arrivals, let me go ahead and just add that to the ticker then. We'll get back to that in a minute. See, is there a new meter already? There isn't. We already saw the bird control vehicle passing by with lights on. Not sure if it was on the runway or not, but the 737 is still holding short over there. Not seeing any bird control vehicle. Oh, and now it is moving, so I think that maybe the bird control vehicle was still on the runway, but directly behind the bridge, so out of sight for me and the camera. But it is now continuing. Another 737 to Rome will depart after this airplane has taken off. But first, KLM flight 1373, which will be going to Bucharest, 737-900, the PHBXB, which is 22 years old and began flying in August 2001. fluff or anything, which I actually had hoped for, that we got to see due to the relative high humidity. Unfortunately, that is not the case. The American Dreamliner is on its way, and feast your eyes on what you're about to see in a moment. In the meantime, Boeing 737-800 to Rome. More inbound traffic passing immediately overhead. If I can see it in between the clouds, but you can probably hear it. Interesting that the 747-8 is coming to take off to Milan from this runway. If runway 24 is also still in use for departures, because it would have been a bit easier flying to the south to take off from the southwest than to the north. So I'm wondering what runway usage is going to be like according to LVNO in a couple of minutes. Either way, this is American Airlines flight 121 going to Dallas in Texas. Flex. Captain Adibos or Andian or both, hopefully, back in the chat. Good evening to you both. Hope all is well, all things considered. Now, an airplane that we don't see very often in the stream because it almost always departs either earlier or later in the day, but Nippon Cargo, Boeing 747-8, flight 49, going to Milan. The JA11KZ. This airplane is already 14 years old. First flight was in March 2010. Now yeah, no, runway 24 is still in use. Just saw an E2 Embraer take off to Marseille. Interesting stuff going on. wingtip vortices, particularly of the left wing, very clearly visible. Beautiful. Quiet as well, wasn't it? Right. Just removing a slug from where I am walking around my tripod. Due to the moisture, a lot of slugs have come out. They shouldn't be in my way, otherwise they might get trampled. Right, we've got a batch of airplanes present or approaching the Polderbaan threshold. Lined up now is KLM Flight 1251, which will be going to Helsinki. 737-800, the PHBCG, which is 5 years old. And after that, the first A220 of the show, probably. But there are also airplanes approaching the line cutters lane. So I'm not sure yet of the exact order in which they're going to take off. 737 to Dublin is in the line cutters lane now. Right, sun now behind the clouds, almost entirely, still vaguely visible. Can we see sunspots? Is what I'm wondering. And the answer is yes, we can. How about that? Sunspots on the sun, visible through the clouds. There's your cause for the aurora that you guys might have seen a week ago. Though I haven't kept track of it, the sun goes through 11-year cycles with more sunspots and less sunspots, and whenever it gets more active and you get to see more sunspots, that's also when there's a higher likelihood of seeing aurora borealis or australis, depending on where you live. Right, Air Baltic is next. First A220 of the show, going to Tallinn, Bombardier C Series 300. The YL-ABJ, 2 years old, first flight May 2022. Right, triplet of airplanes on the other side. One 737 and two E2 Embraers. The first one is already coming this way. KLM Flight 1971 is taking off to Split. Right, the window of opportunity to see sunspots on the sun also seems to have closed. Back to the airplanes then. Up next, KLM flight 1231 going to Gothenburg, 737-800. PH HSD, 13 years old. Hey there, Evasteria, goedemorgen. And all others who have joined. Mr. Cole, good morning, Lance. Good to see you again, mate. Hope all is well. Long time no see. Jinshin the Cool is making a bit of a ruckus. I'm guessing you guys are also picking up on the mic. Question is, where is that mother ducker? Not seeing him, but we were hearing him. More E2s then. On its way to Florence, KLM flight 1653. Captain Eddie Boss wants me to speak duck again. Wah, 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 wah. The duckies aren't around, mate, so seems a bit odd to be doing duck speak when there's nobody to talk to. Right, 3 airplanes and more is on the move. Yeah, and there's also 777 to Kiddo on runway 24. So it is still very much in use for departure, sadly. Interesting runway configuration today. Runway 24 also opened for departures, so departures to the southwest, west and to the north. With northerly wind. This is an A320 to Zurich, Swiss 725. Hey Liewe, goedemorgen. Careful, otherwise you'll be in the pan pretty soon. Not sure if they will mistake me for a duck that easily, but better be cautious, you never know. We have seen hunters here before with guns, so Shamrock on its way to Dublin, flight 603, another A320. Still mostly narrow bodies fast. Have we seen any other heavies except the American Dreamliner. I don't think we have. Next up is KLM flight 1313, Boeing 737-800 going to Warsaw. PHBCD, 11 years old, first flight May 2013. Let's see. Taking off from the threshold now is KLM flight 1269, and in the background we already see another Embraer lining up via the Cheaters entrance. 737 that you're now looking at is going to Copenhagen. Cheater is going to Kristiansand by the looks of it. 787-10 to San Francisco, the second heavy of the show. Well, about the 7478. Was so quiet, it did not leave a lasting impression. Although it was a pretty takeoff, rotating right where we were standing. KLM flight 1185 to Kristiansand, Embraer 175. Hey there T-Mac, hey there Marissa. Hooking with my coat behind the corner of the phone holder. Let's see, is this better? Right, Embraer 192 Gdansk, KLM flight 1303, and in the background the Dreamliner to San Francisco, KLM flight 605. So yeah, it's a bit of a mixed bag. If you look just right west of me, bits of blue. Immediately east of me, bits of blue. If you look further to the east, darker. It's a bit of a mixed bag. Every now and then the sun. Anyway, this is KLM flight 605 going to San Francisco. 787-10 Dreamliner. PHBKG, which began flying in January 2020, making it 4 years old. Flexity flex. Right. Let's do a quick update of the current status quo, shall we? Let's refresh the runway usage. Still the same. So interestingly, southwest departures and arrivals from the south simultaneously. That's a runway configuration that you don't see every day. The wind still in the northwestern corner, now approaching 10 knots, still 9 knots, 304. There's still a ceiling at 800 feet. The temperature is 15 degrees C, that equates to roughly 60 degrees F. Let's copy paste that all in the ticker. And so turn back the camera. We're an EasyJet Airbus is coming. EasyJet A320 to Manchester, flight 22162. 8-year-old airplane. So the ceiling is rising. It was 500 or 600 feet before. Now it has risen to 800 feet, which means that we are able to see the airplanes a bit longer than in the very beginning of the stream. Still not extensively, as you can see. It is already entering into the clouds now, hiding from our view. Wind on the scale of chimney smoke looks like this. Number 175 to Frankfurt is already underway. KLM flight 1817. Thinking this might be Russell. Yeah, that looks like Russell. So a couple of vehicles. Oh, that is security. I think that is the company Securitas, but I'm not sure. An unmarked vehicle. Driving where you normally don't see airplanes. The cars. Another dreamliner in the pipeline. And is that an A330? Let's see. It is going to Houston. Excellent. Heavies underway. The pipeline once again is filling. And not just with narrow bodies. Hey. This KLM 737 seems to be standing still. Gets overtaken on the right now by a dreamliner. That's interesting. Number 175 now coming this way on its way to Stavanger, KLM flight 1175, which is an Embraer 175. 6 years old, first flight January 2018. With that 737 still standing still there, the next two airplanes are heavies. Will be heavies, are going to be heavies. The longer I do this, the more often I feel my English is failing. Then again, the more you speak, the more chances of making mistakes. KLM flight 601 to LAX will be next. We already saw the flight to San Francisco, flight 605, which was also flown on a 787-10 Dreamliner. And this is the one to LAX. The PHBKK, 3 years old, first flight December 2020. She's spooling up, let's look and listen. For a brief moment we were able to see sunspots. Now the sun is too bright to see. Was nice. Reminds me of back in the day when I also used to use my telescope to watch with special foil that you put over the front end so that you could look at the sun through a telescope, could see the sunspots. Once even saw the passage of Venus right in front of the sun. Gives you a good indication of the scale, how much smaller the planets are compared with the sun. Highly recommend it if you ever get the chance to have a look through a telescope at the sun, but also the night sky. KLM flight 661 to Houston, Texas, A330-200. Frank says Kaiserslautern Airlines next. Wirklich? Ja, schön. Austria next, going to Vienna. Air Kaiserslautern. Kaiserslautern. Austrian Airlines flight 372 going to Vienna. A320, the OE LBL. 21 years old, first flight April 2003. Inbound traffic immediately passing overhead. Right through my zenith. Well, not really, just a little bit south of me. Here she comes. That 737 is still standing still there. Not sure if we can pick it up in this shot, in this pan. Yeah. And Brody, good morning. You just passed the exam. I always say it wrong on purpose to see if people are paying attention, and you definitely passed the test. I know it's Houston, Texas. So congratulations, Brody. The only one who paid notice. Well, it's now the Delta A330, but it is standing on the long-term parking where the Delta A330s usually stand when there's something wrong. Doing an update of the LVNL website. Runway configuration is still the same. So interestingly, today, as you guys can see, we have outbound traffic not just to the north but also to the southwest. Meanwhile, inbound traffic from the south, so something you don't see every day. In the pipeline still chocky, or has that already passed? Cancelled. I think around now. We're also supposed to see, where is it, the orange pride. Oh, that's a bit lower still. Going to Johannesburg, might have also taken off from runway 24 already. Has anybody seen? I'm thinking that if the 7478 also took off from this runway while it was going to Milan, who knows, maybe the orange pride will also take off from this runway? Question mark. Anyway, KLM 737-800 outbound to Berlin. Let's see. Ryanair to Dublin. Took the cheaters entrance, skipping ahead of the heavy. So has the orange pride already left? Or is it still due to leave? Just wondering from which runway it is going to take off. Captain Jerry also back in the chat, wondering why those passengers are leaving the Netherlands. Well, new government, new rules. Everybody who is a foreigner needs to go out. So these are all airplanes with foreigners getting evacuated out of the country. The country has to be purified. Or at least that's the impression that you get. The honest answer is that they cannot handle the copious amounts of sunshine that we're getting here in the Netherlands, Captain Jerry. They're all melting away. Ah, thank you Maria for an update. Orange Pride estimated to depart 11 o'clock. Okay. This was an all-white GetJet Airlines to Belgrade, by the way, that we saw pass by just now. And another line skipper already spooling up to Manchester. KLM flight 1031. Embraer 190. First 777 of the show. KLM flight 655 outbound to Minneapolis, Minnesota. There she is. Gin shots for rotations. Ah, is that a new thing? Sounds good, mate. Sounds good. This is KLM flight 655. 777-200 the PHBQB going to Minneapolis. She's 20 years old. First flight October 2003. And the 737 is returning to base. The walk of shame. Poof, and gone. Big picture overview. Looking to the north. Wind is blowing on ground level, at least from this direction, and immediately in the left a small droplet, despite bits of blue here and there. The sun obscured by a cloud. And okay, the walk of shame has not begun just yet, but the 737 has done a 180. Meanwhile, a 737 to Milan just passed it by. Also a big thank you to Captain Jerry Donnelly, who just now gifted 5 memberships, 5 new members courtesy of Captain Jerry. If you are one of the recipients, don't forget to thank Captain Jerry for your membership, and be sure to use those custom emojis that are now at your disposal. Jerry, thank you so much. 5 new members courtesy of you. That's right, Marissa. Where the 737 now is standing, there are 2 lanes, so airplanes can pass it by, but there is traffic coming this way. If this 737 wants to go back to the gate, it first has to wait until the single lane part is free. And looking at flight radar, there's quite a few airplanes on their way now, so looks like they'll be there for a while. Delta A330 is coming this way as well. Intertwined with Bombardier C series from Air Baltic, so the loud with the quiet. Insofar as you're still able to hear the loud airplanes. I know I might have lost a few decibels in hearing ever since I've been streaming here on a regular basis. This is KLM flight 1621 737-800 to Milan. PH PXU, 18 years old already. Still a relatively low ceiling today. And I know all too well that tinnitus isn't fun, Patrick. Speak people who have that on a regular basis. Absolutely no fun. I think this is the first of two Delta A330s. Flight 161 to Minneapolis. Second one to Jerry's hometown is crossing this, has just crossed the center runway. And Le Magic is on the flight to Salt Lake City in seat 48A. Is that in front of the wings or behind it? And what time is it expected to depart? Is that landing on center? No, that's not. That's landing on right. Air Baltic to Riga up next, flight 618, Bombardier C Series 300, YLABG, 2 years old, first flight February 2022. Well, thanks for the update, Maria. Orange Pride now expected to take off almost 15 minutes later. Well, as long as it stays dry, we'll still be around for it. Question is, will it take off from 24 or from Polderbaan? That's the question I find most exciting due to the uncertainty. Right, Delta making its way over. Another Airbus. Bulgaria Air is that all-white airplane that you saw before, and this is the third Air Baltic A220 which will be leaving for Vilnius. And this one is going to Jerry's hometown, to Portland. Right, let's get loud. Delta Airlines flight 161 to Minneapolis, Minnesota. A330-300. 20 years old, first flight August 2003. And behind the wing. Okay, thanks Maris. Salt Lake City, I think those usually depart in the morning, right? I think it should be in the normal streaming window of opportunity, so to speak. The normal operating hours for AMS Live. Just started its taxi. Okay, cool. Should be taking off for Polderbaan. Righty, an all-white A319, Bulgaria Air. Says destination NA. I'm guessing it is probably Sofia. Hey RDW, goedemorgen, good morning. This plain Jane plane is 16 years old, the LZ FBB. Its first flight was in November 2007. Jerry says we need 200 likes before the Portland flight. The counter on my streaming app says it's at 228 now, which is still abysmally low considering we have more than 500 viewers. Hint, hint. That you hear when those older A319s and A320s pass you by. You heard it with this one, and if you listen to the old A320s and 319s of EasyJet, you'll also hear it. They make a particular whistle when they pass by. Bird is also doing a flyby. Is that Russell? Or another crew member? Wasn't able to see. Yeah, hard to see. Donald is over there, standing guard, watching over us. Air Baltic to Vilnius, flight 962, Bombardier C Series 300 or A220s as they're called these days. The YL CSF cerebral spinal fluid. Right, 6 years old, first flight June 2017. And that is coming to you, Jerry. Coming home to Portland at Delta A330. Cheers, Jax. Beautiful channel, you do so good. Keep going. Pete is saying A340 on the move. What the F? You kidding? Has the A340 returned? Holy shizzle, it has. Awesome. The slowest climber in the game. I thought they resorted to using the A330 again, but happy to see that the A340 by Hi-Fly Malta is on the move. That is so nice. Hey there, Andrew. Tuning in from a very grey Yorkshire. Well, things aren't very different over here, sadly. This is coming home to Jerry's hometown, Portland, Oregon. Delta Airlines flight 179. Too bright in a moment. No. For a moment I was hoping we might be able to see the sunspots once again. The clouds need to have the right density to not blind you. Also to let through enough sunshine so that you can see the sunspots. We were able to see them earlier. And indeed, Bryce, still a low ceiling, sub 1,000 foot. It is rising though. Lined up, ready to go to Billund to drop off a few bills in Bill land is KLM flight 1293. It's the SAS coming this way, PHEZZ, 10 years old. First flight was in November 2013. There's a lot to see in the background, which will be going to Warsaw. Embraer 195. There's also a Lufthansa A320 to Frankfurt. Close by. In the background just now. Now, I spy with my little eye something that I didn't think we would see so soon after the last Surinam A340 departure. But there is another A340-300 going to Paramaribo, operated by Surinam. It is a rental. Yeah. Silver lining is it climbs so slowly. We'll be able to see it for several minutes before it goes through the ceiling and becomes invisible. Lot flight 266, regular Embraer 195. On its way to Warsaw. Andrew likes it a lot. Me too, mate. Me too. Well, big picture wise, things at least west of me are definitely more open. Have gotten more open. Still in the part of the sky where the sun currently is at more cloudiness. Also a bit more to the north, although with the opening up. And on the ground level the wind was blowing from the northwest, so I'm thinking that maybe the openness west of me might also open up the ceiling here a bit more. Let's see if maybe after this departure we have time to do another update of the status quo. The A340 has just arrived on this part, this side of the platform area. Still has the taxi all the way to the threshold. I'm not sure, because I'm now looking at the details of this flight. If there are narrow bodies that might go ahead of it via the cheaters lane. Either way, this is Lufthansa flight 987 going to Frankfurt, A320. Let's listen. Here too. 14 years old, first flight November 2009, and not seeing any cheaters. Skipping the line. There it is, the return of the A340-300 to Schiphol Airport. Flying for Surinam, now the number 10 on flight radar. Tracked by 176 people. Those are rookie numbers, we can do better. Let's get it in the top 5. Going to Paramaribo, the 9HTQZ, 26 years old, this little Airbus. Again flying in November 1997. And Delta to Salt Lake City, is that the one containing our viewer? Is over here, seat 48A. Let's just do a quick rundown of the status quo. Refresh of the METAR says that the wind is still blowing from the northwest, 9 knots. Hey, no more ceiling, just scattered clouds at 1,000 feet. Temporary periods of broken clouds. Runway usage still unchanged. Right. I'll do a quick update of the METAR in the ticker for you guys. For those of you who don't know what those letters and numbers mean, it's the weather report that gets updated twice per hour. Let me take you through it after this airplane has taken off. The return of the A340. High fly Malta, flying for Surinam Airways to Paramaribo. This airplane is 26 years old. Feet, 20 feet, 30 feet, 40 feet. Look at their smoke. A smoking 26-year-old. Just for perspective. Right, what a terrific surprise to see the A340 return to Schiphol. Next up, Delta Airlines flight 57 to Salt Lake City, A330neo. Bit younger, this airplane. First flight was in September 2022, so a year and a half or so. No, more. 1 year and 9 months already. Or is it 8? Anyway, young. Right, next up, KLM flight 95 to Edinburgh. Regular Embraer 190, the FISO, PHEZO. And the first CRJ of the day will follow after that. Now the FISO is 14 years old, had its first flight in March 2010. There's a couple of interesting airplanes on their way over here. American to Philadelphia, Vueling, Delta to Detroit, 777 to, what was JRO again? Kilimanjaro if I'm not mistaken. In fact, we can even see those tails as they pass around the threshold of the northern threshold of the center runway. Taxi around the runway on their way over here. And it's moving. Any news yet about the Orange Pride going to Johannesburg? Could see it take off from runway 24 instead of the Polderbaan. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if it were to take off from runway 24. Of course, I'm hoping that it won't, but realistically, let's turn around for the first CRJ of the day, SAS flight 552, going to Copenhagen. Already on the move. EIFPV, 6 years old. So formally no more ceiling, but you can definitely see that there are a few clouds still hanging around 1,000 foot. It's a pity that we don't have wind from the south. We would have had decent glide slope shots. There is a quad contrail that now is behind the clouds. So definitely things are opening up a little bit. In the meantime, let's have a look at our pipeline, shall we? The new batch of airplanes being led by American Airlines flight 203. 7878 Dreamliner to Philadelphia. Behind it is Vueling going to Bilbao. Hey, that's good news, Marissa. China Airlines A350 also on the move. Michael just in time to see the CRJ. Morning, mate. Perfect timing. He intuitively knows when to tune in. Delta A330 to Detroit, number 3. And after that, we will see a KLM 777-200, which will be going to Kilimanjaro. In the meantime, I just got a notification from PayPal from a donation by Vincent Kamphuis. Vincent, if you're watching, thank you so much, my friend. Hopefully you're watching. Orange Pride is being pushed back. Infinity also in the chat, good morning. E2 Embraer behind the 777, going to Munich. And an Embraer 175 to Hamburg will follow the E2 Embraer. Big picture wise, the sun is hiding behind some thinner clouds. They're getting thinner. Things are definitely opening up. Looking to the southwest, looking to the west, also above sea, does seem to open up. Looking up to the northeast and looking up to the north. We have a cheater. Welling is skipping the line, going in front of the heavy. Before the dreamliner, I should say. And Jewish Slime says that it was a 747 from Lufthansa that just passed overhead. Could see that it was a quad squad member. Figured it was going to the United States from Frankfurt or from Munich. Thank you for the clarification, Jewish Slime. Flying on the way to Bilbao. The American Airlines Dreamliner will not wait too long. It is moving already. American Airlines flight 203 7878 Dreamliner to Philadelphia. 7 years old, first flight March 2017. Delta A330 to Detroit in the background. 777 to Kilimanjaro now in the background. Flexi. Goedemorgen gebakje. Pastries. Oh. Delta Airlines flight 135 going to Detroit, Michigan. A330-300. 17 years old, first flight January 2007. Nice. Let's quickly turn back. 777 time. KLM flight 567 to Kilimanjaro. PHBQK. 19 years old, first flight January 2005. 777-200. Time for an E2 Embraer to Munich. Flight 1851. First, the wake turbulence of the 777 that just took off has to dissipate sufficiently. This particular airplane is the PH-NXR, which is a year old. Again, flying for the first time in January 2023. Oh, nice. The A350 to Taipei is just turning around the corner to make its way over here. Quite a few airplanes on the move. Hey! 777-300 to Johannesburg is moving in this direction. I think we're going to see the orange pride, ladies and gentlemen. Thank goodness. First up, E2 Embraer to Munich, KLM flight 1851. KLM flight 1753 is what we are looking at, going to Hamburg in a moment. The PH-EXI, 7 years old, first flight July 2016, Embraer 175, and after that a Chinese A350, which we can already see on its way over here. Followed by 3 narrow bodies, 4 narrow bodies, and then an A330 to Brussels. Why not? got a line cutter. EasyJet A320 to London Gatwick. Just passed the A350 by. I'm thinking maybe the A350 is slowing down so that the other three can also skip ahead. Well, wouldn't that be something, H-Man, if ATC were watching the stream and threw us a bone? Just curious to see, has anything changed in terms of runway usage? Let's do a refresh of LVNL. Okay, yeah. Now we're the only runway for arrivals, for departures, and it's all north-south. Great. Let's change that then. Departures 36 left, arrivals 36 right, 36 Charlie. That is good news. All outbound traffic coming to Polderban. Starting off with this A320neo to London Gatwick, EasyJet flight 28675. Brand new. This one really is brand new. Began flying for the first time in March this year. Look like the other narrow bodies are following the A350 and are all taxiing to the runway threshold. Ronald asks what tempo in the ticker means. That means temporary periods. So that means temporary periods of different clouds and visibility, for instance. And those periods don't last longer than 30 minutes. See if we can also do an update of the METAR in a moment. Said I was going to take you through what it means. Still, just now realized that I forgot to do that. Apologies. Choina Airlines, flight 74, going to Taipei. A350-900. Airplane is 6 years old. First flight February 2018. Let's look and listen. Captain Jerry's ex-wife had temporary periods. I'm sure she had. Hey, Paul, also back in the chat. Good to see you, mate. Hope all is well. In a couple of minutes the weather should be updated again with a new METAR. Let me try to remember to update it then and take you through it. Lined up over there is Transavia flight something, doesn't say, going to Ponta Delgada. Not sure where that exactly is. The PHHXM, 6 years old, first flight April 2018. Embraer 175 in the background going to JD's hometown Düsseldorf. 737-800 going to Stockholm. And an A330 to Brussels. you have a new government in the Netherlands since a day, and already the flights to Brussels have been upgraded from Embraers to A330s. So that's a promising start. We already saw the A340 again today. Things are looking good in aviation land. Orange Pride also making its way over, going to Johannesburg, South Africa. First, this KLM flight 1799 going to Düsseldorf. Embraer 175, the PH EXS, 6 years old, first flight November 2017. Azores. Thanks, Ross. There you go. Still, every now and then you hear of destinations that you're thinking about. Where is it? Madeira is Funchal, I believe. KLM flight 1219 going to Stockholm. Up next, and an A330 to Brussels in the background. This 737-800, 24 years old, first flight April 2000. KLM A330 to Brussels up next. A330-300, the PH AKB, 12 years old, first flight February 2012. Yeah, she's light. Rate of climb. Quite a difference. Let's quickly turn back. Delta Airlines flight 73 to Atlanta, Georgia up next. Another A330-300. I'm thinking it is going to rotate a little bit later on the runway than the KLM just now did. And after that, KLM Orange Pride. KLM Orange Pride, not yet in the top 10 on Flight Radar. Can we do that? Should be able to do that. Alright, KLM Flight 591 up next to Johannesburg, 777-300 the PHBVA, aka the Orange Pride, which is 16 years old, had its first flight in January 2008. Lined up, ready to go. Hey, Evan also in the chat. Good to see you, mate. Did not see you there. Top of the morning. Buenos dias. Hope all is well. Orange Pride coming this way. Toom says, can you check why Air Arabia is flying over Ukraine war zone? Let me check in with MI6 then, and the Central Intelligence Agency. I have absolutely no idea why and where and how I should be able to check that. Sorry, mate. I can do a lot, but there's also a lot that I cannot do. Ooh, that's a nice nickname for the moderator, Script Gang. More triple violence coming soon. This is Qatar outbound to Doha. Qatar Cargo, flight 8202. 777-300 freight, 777 freighter, I should say. 10 years old, first flight March 2014. Peter is disappointed. Well, you're always free to unsubscribe. No, this is sadly one of the things that I cannot do. Maybe we can ask ChatGPT. Maybe ChatGPT knows the answer. Now that could possibly be it, Gewichtslijn, GPS distortion. Although I'm pretty sure that everybody who flies in the vicinity of war zones is aware of the possibility that that might happen. So I'm not sure. Yeah, well, never say never, of course. That would be, I think, one of the most plausible explanations. If anybody knows, do let us know in the chat. That could also be it, Flores. We also had the A380 land on Polderbaan, while Flight Radar said it was landing in the center of Haarlem. Could also be that Flight Radar is effing up. Right, from the very big to the not so big. A320neo, SAS Flight 822 to Oslo. Up next, Zero. It's the Zero, S-E-R-O-O, Seru. The Seru is 4 years old. First flight was in May 2019. Hadi Maaike, goedemorgen. Sharifu, good morning. After this, a Lufthansa A319 to Munich in the background visible already, and a KLM A330 after that. also in the background just now. Well, we had openings in the sky west of us earlier. Now, once again, more densely clouded. The sun is once again obscured by denser clouds. The A319 to Munich is already coming this way. Lufthansa flight 2303. Star Alliance livery. Right, time for the heavies once again. Two A330s, the first one from KLM going to Kigali, the second one from Delta to New York JFK. Already moving, KLM flight 535. PH AKF, 9 years old, first flight October 2014. We didn't have a ceiling before, I'm thinking we might have one again. Next up, Delta Airlines flight 47 to New York JFK, another A330-300. "20 years old, first flight September 2003, and already on the move. We're keeping up the pace. Flight radar, a couple of Neos coming this way. JetBlue A321 to Boston. SAS A320 Neo to Stockholm, I think. Yeah, another one with overheated brakes. And first need to cool down. Sadly, visibility doesn't allow us to see the entire departure and the retraction of the landing gear, which I'm pretty sure will happen pretty soon. Might have already happened. See that a lot, particularly on the Delta A330s. Bridge controller also around. Meanwhile, JetBlue to Boston, Massachusetts, lining up in the distance. Flight 632, A321neo. This A321neo is a year old, celebrated its first birthday this month, started flying in May 2023. White tip nose, A320neo, SAS flight 556 going to Stockholm. EI SIP SIP will be turning 2 in August this year. Let's see, BA, Turkish. What was the estimated time of departure again of that Air Canada flight with the special Disney livery? 12 o'clock or something? Shouldn't be too long. Still, it's quite Friday here so far. Not a lot of people. Occasional cyclist. I think there's one person sitting over there. Mostly quiet in the water. Gentian on land. I'm thinking. Departure from center that I am hearing. Or is that just a single biz jet taking off from Schiphol Oostbaan, smallest of the runways? Some people over here. There do seem to be a few people at the parking of the Spottersplatz itself, but you can definitely tell that it's no longer a school holiday. Center now also open for departures. Okay, let's update the ticker then in that respect after this departure. BA A319 to London Heathrow, flight 429. 24-year-old airplane, first flight April 2000. Right, the dreaded silence. With now departures also taking place from center. You can hear the departures, but you cannot see them because of the low ceiling. Looks like we have another ceiling. Let's have a quick look at the current situation. Let's do a refresh of the weather first of all. Have a look, see what is the current status quo. Okay, according to the METAR, no ceiling yet. Still wind from the northwest. Wind speed 9 knots, 3 below 4, 17 degrees C. That is 64 degrees F. And runway use now, well, de facto this one has turned blue. Which means that Polderbaan is no longer the only runway being used for no longer the only runway being used for departures, I should say. Now I'm also pasting the METAR into the ticker and update runway usage, arrivals 36 right, departures 36 left and 36C. Now I said I would take you guys through the METAR. That's what you see right now. The weather information gets updated twice an hour, 25 minutes past the hour and 5 minutes to the hour. Starts off with the time and date, the 17th, 9:25 Zulu time, that's 11:25 Central European time. The wind, 9 knots from 320 degrees. Visibility, 10 kilometers or more. Few clouds at 900 feet, scattered clouds at 1,000 feet. Temperature is 17 degrees, the dew point is 14 degrees, the air pressure is 1008 hectopascals, and we have temporary periods where there is broken clouds at 1,000 feet. Those temporary periods last no longer than 30 minutes. Also a little inspection in progress. As you guys can see, the bird control vehicle with the flashlights on, which means all outbound traffic now temporarily going to the center runway. There's a Turkish A330 ready to line up. Croatia A319 is taking off. We can see it. Let's see how far we can follow the airplanes from over here. I'm thinking not very much, not very long. Croatia Airlines on its way to Zagreb. Jinshin the Kut making a bit of noise. And in the clouds it vanishes already. Just as we're about to hear it. Jinshin the Kut, that was making the ruckus just now. On his own. Not seeing any companions in the vicinity. Now next up on center is going to be Turkish flight 1952 A330-300 outbound to Istanbul. Yeah. The meter says no ceiling, but in actual practice there is one, definitely. question is, will we be able to see it pick up again, or no? Also a good idea to have a look on the weather radar. Everything seems to be perfectly fine in terms of precipitation. It's going to stay dry. Bird controller is doing an inspection right now as we speak. There is a 787 to Toronto coming this way, plus an A319 to Stansted. Ah, that is good news. Timinen is on the flight to Toronto, hopefully on the left-hand side. Inspection is still in progress. The first two airplanes to Polderbaan are on their way. See. Just checking if we might be able to see the airplanes taxiing towards the Polderbaan already, but you can see visibility not that great again. To see this Air Europa 737 a bit longer than the previous two airplanes. So I'm saying that into the clouds it goes. Right, Jackie has to leave. Thanks for joining, Jackie. Enjoy the rest of your day. See you in the next one. See that they've also left one of the 3 Dixies that they put there last week. Be a bad idea to put Dixies around the runway area on this side either. There are a couple of Dixies on the parking lot, but that's it. Ah. Firefighter seems to be doing some testing. Timinen unfortunately seated in the middle. Well, at least we'll be able to see your departure. Ask the pilot if he wants to stop. Yeah. You never know. I can always use a Dixie nearby, Marissa, always. Somebody should follow me all day around with a Dixie. Captain Eddie Boss also saying goodbye. Goodbye and all the best. Hope to see you in the next one. Now, in the meantime, airplanes to Polderbaan have become visible. Dreamliner to Toronto. And A319 is a bit better at hiding. Oh wait, that's already here. Has already taken a left-hand turn to go to the threshold for its departure. Vince also has to go. See you next one. See you on the next one. Looking on flight radar, several airplanes have come alive. Not seeing the Air Canada special Disney livery yet. I think it was expected around 12:15 or so, if I recall correctly. Alrighty, next up, EasyJet flight 27839 going to London Stansted, A319, the OE LQN, 15 years old. It had its first flight back in December 2008. Yeah, the return of the ceiling. Up next, KLM flight 691 to Toronto, Canada. Range pulling up. 787-10 Dreamliner. PH BKH, 3 years old, first flight May 2020. Right, in the meantime, it's getting a bit more busy at the threshold of center. 737, A320, 777 from Emirates to Dubai. There's a 737-800 to Bergen coming our way. Is that it? See, all to Tel Aviv, probably going to center. I think that we are going to see this runway configuration with 2 runways open for departures until 1 o'clock. This China Southern Cargo. Now again gone, but it was on flight radar just now. 777 from China Southern Cargo. Those tend to take off from Polderban. Hey there, Sarah. Good to see you again. Leaving Dallas today to go back to Boston. Hope you've had a good time in Dallas. Over here on one of the busiest airports in the world, we have another moment where not much is going on. We have one 737 that is now nearby. Looks like visibility on ground level is also deteriorating somewhat. Definitely was under the impression that we were able to see the airplanes on that side a bit better earlier in the stream. A bit hazy. This is KLM flight 1167 taxiing to the threshold of Polderban to take off to Bergen. A 737-800. 23 years old, first flight September 2000. Who let the fog out? Indeed, Frank. Hey, congratulations, Frank, on coining a new word in the English language. Britty Hopper, now being adopted by the crew, who also have taken a liking to the term. So traffic is underway, ladies and gentlemen, but this is the furthest removed runway. It takes a little while for the airplanes that are outbound via this runway to get here. Great to hear, Sarah. Good time, especially plane spotting at Dallas and Love Field. Did you see anything particularly interesting? Something that we don't get to see here at Schiphol Airport, for instance. Alrighty, 737 to Bergen is on the move. Let's look and listen. and gone. Let's see. Lining up on the center runway right now is Emirates Flight 146. That is the daily flight to Dubai in the 777-300. Thinking maybe we can see it over there already. This is probably safer. So 777 today from El Al, which will be taking off to Tel Aviv from center in a couple of minutes. Preceded by two narrow bodies by the looks of it. The next airplane to take off from center will be the Emirates flight in the 777-300 which now is coming this way. Waving us goodbye. So it's vanished into the clouds already. Now interestingly, there is a bit of blue over here. And also behind me, just little patches of blue. There are openings, but you can definitely see it has gotten a bit more hazy as the morning has progressed. Small world stream today. Now, on their way over to Polderbaan and approaching in the distance is already the first of them, are a couple of heavies. This is United Flight 21 to Houston. There's also a 777 from, what was it again, China Southern Cargo on its way to Guangzhou, also coming this way. TUI flight to Bonaire is coming this way, a Dreamliner. A330 Delta to Boston is also coming this way. Finnair is flying with the A321 today. Our first next airplane, United Flight 21 to Houston, Texas. 777-200 25 years old, first flight September 1998. Hey, JD is back in the chat. Good to see you, mate. Singapore A350 is also on the move. Curious to see if it's going to take off from center, which it probably will, or maybe if we're going to catch a break and see it take off from this runway. Probably not, but you never know. And there's the triple to Choina. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm already counting 6 airplanes coming this way. Hansi, thank you so much for your continued support, mate. 7 months already. Mr. Boy, regards from Almere. Well, I'm no mister. But thank you so much for your continued support and greetings back from Schiphol Airport, where it's probably the same weather, I'm thinking. I think we're right on the edge of where we have the worst weather, and back in the north I'm pretty sure that Rick Meester is now chilling in the sun. He also was yesterday. Chinese triple coming this way. In the meantime, United Flight 21 is approaching the threshold, so let's turn back the camera to that part. United Airlines Flight 21 to Houston, Texas, 777-200. Also, Hans, a big thank you for 5 gifted memberships just now. If you are one of the recipients, don't forget to say thanks. Be sure to use the custom emojis that are now at your disposal if you're one of the 5 new members. Hans, dankjewel. Thank you so much for your kindness. Very generous. And welcome to the Aurora Sky Lounge, those 5 new members. Right, she's pulling up the 777 to Houston. United Airlines Flight 21. Taking off parallel to it. It's the 777 from Al to Tel Aviv. The world is growing smaller here, more nebulosity up in the sky and also on ground level. We were able to see the chimney smoke earlier. Now it has become one big blur, although if you look carefully you can still see the wind on the scale of chimney smoke. It has gotten worse. Hey, the Godfather is also back, Herr Wolf. Servus. Still haven't gotten around to watching that video that you linked me to of ATC, but it is still on the watch list. Another 777 going to Shanghai. No? Wait, Guangzhou. China Southern Cargo, flight 2574. 777 freighter, a year old, first flight December 2022. Now if I recall correctly, there were 2 747s expected to take off somewhere around noon, but there are all cargo airplanes and those schedules are rarely correct. Don't see anything on flight radar just yet. I do see that there is another CRJ coming this way. Hope Michael is still in the chat. If you are, another CRJ coming your way. Pipeline to Polderbaan, nicely filled now. A couple of back-to-back airplanes now. First up, the Chinese 777 freighter. Let's have a look. Embraer 190 to Inverness up next. KLM flight 903, PHEXC, 10 years old, first flight February 2014. Embraer 190 to Dublin, and then a Delta A330 to Boston. There's also an airplane approaching Cheaters Lane. That would be Finnair to Helsinki in an A321 today. Wolfgang asks, what kind of sub do I have over there? Oh, well, Kappa sub. Instant sub. It's made a sub with balls. Very important that you don't forget balls in your soup. Meanwhile, the airplane to Inverness is coming this way. You can also see in the background the queue. And she's gone. Yeah. Quite quiet in the water still. Looking for birds, but hardly any to be seen today. Two airplanes lined up. First one taking off from Cheaters Lane is the A321 to Helsinki, Finnair flight 1302. 20 years old, this A321. First flight March 2004. Hey, good news. Marissa is informing us that the special livery Air Canada is being pushed back. Disney Wish livery. We've seen it once before already. Next airplane is already on its way. It's an Embraer 190 to Dublin, KLM flight 1139. The Feza PHEZA, 15 years old, first flight October 2008. The next airplane is probably going to get loud. Delta Airlines flight 243 to Boston, Massachusetts. A330-300. Ready to go at a moment's notice. 17 years old this airplane. First flight April 2007. Let's see if I can quickly go back to the computer. Scroll, 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 scroll. I'd also like to thank Arjan very much and very kindly for 5 gifted memberships just now. If you are one of the recipients, don't forget to say dankjewel or thank you to Arjan. Arjan, dankjewel man. Very kind and generous of you. Welcome to the Aurora Skylines as new members. Delta on the move. In the background we saw a TUI Dreamliner which will be going to Bonaire. Joined us later, welcome to the show. As you can see, visibility is rather poor today. That does not detract from the fact that we've seen a couple of awesome airplanes already in the show earlier. Saw the departure of a Nippon Cargo 7478 to Milan, which interestingly, while Kaagbaan runway 24 was open, took off from this runway. Plus the return of the A340 to Schiphol Airport, a rental flying for Surinam, and we saw it take off from Polderbaan. Lined up right now is TUI flight 395 to Bonaire, the B in the ABC Islands, together with Aruba, Bonaire and Curaçao, part of the Kingdom of the Netherlands, and lying just off the coast of Venezuela in the Caribbean Sea. I think I vaguely see the semblance of an ITA. Just took off from center and now already vanished into the clouds, sadly. Second CRJ of the show in the background, making its way over to the threshold. This Dreamliner is 9 years old, the PHTFM, had its first flight in March 2015. Alrighty, SAS up next. CRJ. SAS flight 1578 going to NA. It's a CRJ900 long range, the EIGEA. 15 years old. We also have an Embraer 190 to Aberdeen in Cheaters Lane. Probably going to take off before the United Dreamliner. What's the hold up? Looking around me, not seeing any yellow vehicles with flashlights on the runway, so doesn't seem to be anything going on. Just needed some time for the wake turbulence to dissipate, perhaps. Zoom out, I want to zoom out. behind the wheel is not a good idea. Well, gone it is already. Sounds interesting, Wolfgang. Almost makes me want to makes me want to hope for rain this weekend so that I can watch those videos. Nah, I'll find time. Embraer 190 to Aberdeen now. Up next, flight 915. 15 years old also. First flight November 2008. Alrighty, let's quickly turn back. United flight 947 lined up, ready to go to Washington. 7878 Dreamliner, 10 years old, first flight October 2013. Now you can already see the angle of the wings. It is a bit upward pointing. That's the case with all airplanes. If I keep the shot wide, you will see just as the airplane gains speed, those wings flex up even more, and then during the rotation they get really curvy and flexy. If you have a wing seat in a Dreamliner, you're able to fixate your camera, for instance, to the window. You can see the flex occur during the takeoff. Jinshin still alone there. Oh no! There's two of them. Donald and Daisy. Hard to see. They do look like ducks. Not much I can tell. Right, next up two Embraer 175s. One lined up right now will be going to Gdansk, flight 1305. The other one will be going to Stavanger, Embraer 175, flight 1177. TUI to Curaçao is also on the move. Air Canada is also on the move. And is that the special livery coming here? Yeah, it is. Nice. And it's the black and white duck with the yellow eyes. And another coot in the background. Right, that's about it. First controller over there. Great. About to take off next is Air Canada. The Disney special livery coming this way to Toronto. Hey Lorton, goedemiddag. Yeah, seems like it. Absolutely deserted over here. Dude on the scooter has been there for a while. There is one other person a bit further out, or that looks like two. Probably sitting on the concrete bench. More folk over at the parking lot, as you can see. It's definitely no longer school holiday, as you can see. North of me, don't think anybody is sitting there anymore. There are some occasional cyclists passing by, but those are just passing by and not necessarily visiting Polderbaan. Although, is that someone over there? Yeah, there is someone over there with a hoodie. Seemed like it, at least. Yeah, place is deserted, at least over here. There's the Disney Wish special livery. Right, Air Canada is about to line up, and what is the next airplane going to do? BA already took a left-hand turn, so it is following Air Canada to the runway threshold. Right, the pipeline is starting to fill up again. Oh, yeah, no. For a moment I thought that the BA was going to cheaters lane anyway, but it wasn't. Next up, Air Canada, flight 809 in the Disney Wish livery, 7879 Dreamliner to Toronto, Canada. The airplane is 6 years old and had its first flight in February of the year 2018. Right, there's a triplet of narrow bodies on the other side. The one lined up already is BA Flight 431 to London Heathrow. And in the cheaters lane is the E2 Embraer 195 to Birmingham, which looks like it is going to, well, I'm not sure if it's going to be the next one. Let's see, 282 Curacao, 772 Calgary. Right, another Dreamliner to Montreal on its way. Canadian outbound rush hour seems to have begun. A couple of airplanes to Canada underway now or just departed. E2 seems to be on the move. So I'm thinking it is going to be the next airplane to take off. E2 is already spooling up. Okay, and flight 1045 to Birmingham, E2 Embraer. PHNXP will turn 1 next month. Up next, Airbus A319 to Bristol. So used to Embraers. Comes sort of a reflex to call everything an Embraer. This Embraer 319 is going to Birmingham. 15 years old, first flight October 2008. Indeed, Wolfgang, it is the dead cat today. Single digit wind speeds. So just checking at what wind speed and which wind direction does the wind noise become too apparent and too disturbing. So this is indeed the dead cat once again. Up next, TUI Flight 355 going to Curaçao. 7878 Dreamliner, Belgian registered, the OOJDL, 10 years old, first flight November 2013. Let's see, Air Canada, KLM, pom, pom, pom. asynchronous retraction of the main gear there. I do sometimes see that. Well, the upshot of having the dead cat and having the Sennheiser mounted to the camera is that you follow the sound source continuously, so it does pick up the sound way better. I'm not sure about the wind rumble though. I'm curious to listen what it sounds like today, because once again the wind is blowing from behind right now, pointing the camera in this direction, and that is the direction where the mic is most sensitive to get loud in terms of wind rumble, whenever the wind is blowing from the side or from behind. Versus the center looks to be closed, that figures. That usually happens around 1 o'clock, a little bit sooner than 1 o'clock now, but definitely was to be expected around this time. That's good news, means that all outbound traffic is coming to the Polderbaan once again. The downside is that such a long moment of such a long period of calmness has preceded it that a lot of viewers have already gone and probably were doing something else in the meantime. This is KLM flight 927 to Edinburgh, 737-900. The sun is still hidden from view. Still pretty hazy on ground level. The main tower over there, vaguely visible. Next up, Air Canada flight 901 to Montreal, 7878 Dreamliner. 9 years old, first flight July 2014. Canadian Exodus. Next airplane, which we might see in the background in a moment, 777-200 to Calgary. Yeah, there it is. Right, KLM Asia on its way to Canada in a moment. Now, here it comes. KLM flight 677 200 to Calgary, PHBQL, 18 years old, first flight February 2006. That is Russell. Right, folks, I'm going to wrap it up. This was the last airplane. It's another stream with not a lot going on and not a lot to see, particularly because low visibility is impeding the airplanes, our ability to see the airplanes. So hopefully better luck in the weekend. Thank you all so much for joining. Thank you for your support, for the super stickers, the super chats and whatnot. The gifted memberships. Welcome to all the new members once again. Thank you moderators for keeping this chat friendly and accessible. Hopefully the weather will be better tomorrow. If not, then hopefully later in the weekend. I will see you again. Enjoy the rest of your Friday for now and see you in the next one. Bye for now.